he said, "Oh, wasn't no Shaq with you."
Lucky Lefty podcast, man. The Honora boys are definitely in the building. Brought to you by Honora
Shout out
Whiskey.
Kenny Smith. He said, "Oh, wasn't no
HonoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, HonoraWhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure you do so.
like Kenny Smith." The man tried to say, "Yeah, I was with Shaq all day."
No, man. He did take the PJ back with Shaq, right?
Back with him.
Yeah.
Kenny, so I just caught that.
Oh, man. Yo, so we'll talk some CFB, some recruiting, coaches on the hot seat, and fear factor. Fear factor, bro. Looking at the schedule after spring, are there any games that we look at and say, I don't know. This one might be a little bit more dicey than I thought originally. So, man, that's what we're going to do today, right? I think, for the most part, we spent the last week really diving into how Marcus Freeman has really changed and doubled down on recruiting. Just like flat out, it's like, yo, so what? We didn't get this guy. We're still going after 5 stars. In a pretty good spot. I would say they're in good standing with at least 4 or 5 stars. They got one in the fold already. That counts. We'll see how CJ Carr does at the Elite 11.
Yeah.
Justin Scott, Elijah Rushing. That's 4. If I miss one, we'll get on that. Man, I'll tell you, look, man, this weekend was crazy, right? First of all, yesterday was a pretty good day of basketball. It was a pretty good day of basketball. Shout out to the Sixers, bro, and James Harden.
Okay.
Shout out to the Sixers and James Harden, because I don't really think they would pack much of a counterpunch to the Celtics in this series. I really didn't. I know I didn't. I just didn't. And James Harden has really shown me something in games 1 and games 4. Like, he's not, which is something. Like, I think because this is a quality of greatness. Even when they lose the things that made them great, that doesn't stop the fact that they're great.
Right.
They still have more tools in their bag. And he might not be able to go at it. Stay with me, Left. Stay with me.
Okay.
I think you would agree. 1997 Michael Jordan was not the same as 1992 Michael Jordan. Just wasn't.
Okay.
He wasn't the same athlete. He wasn't. Huh?
You talking about when he came back?
Yeah, this was like the last year he won a championship, like his last championship. He wasn't the same player.
Right.
He wasn't the same player. But because of his greatness, he just found a way to be great. Even LeBron James, you can laud him in 18 years. LeBron James with the Lakers is not LeBron James with the Heat. It's not.
He's not. No.
Not the same dude.
More defined, you know.
They just have tools in their bag, bro. They just.
Or would you say it's more efficient?
Man, I just say it's greatness. Greatness just had, dude. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was 40 years old with goggles, still
But
skyhook.
efficiency though, it wasn't as much movement. LeBron James in Miami was doing the thing with D Wade where he throw the ball up and LeBron two-handed from the free throw line. He ain't doing that now.
Right, right,
He'll
right.
go down and do a euro, or he might dish it out. It's a different, efficient LeBron, I think.
Yeah,
But I think that's what happens with age. You get in that opportunity where
yeah,
I think Marcus Freeman will find that defining factor. Coach Kelly went into his defining factor, I think, after uh, 2016, where
mm,
he had to be super efficient, where he got rid of all of the coaches that he had before, his strength staff, and really got down to the nitty gritty. Kept Jake Strong, Jake Long, Jake Strong. One of them. Sorry, Jake, my bad. But and it really had to harp in on finding the right coaches. He got Clark Lee,
uh huh,
he got Marcus Freeman, right? He got guys that got he stand back in the fold, got guys that he felt like were efficient in getting the job done. And I think with Marcus Freeman, he'll be able to find that as time goes on. I think when you first get in there, it was these huge, obvious things that he needed to change, huge, obvious things that I think we can all agree he probably wanted to jump on ASAP.
mm-hmm.
But what ended up happening, which was pretty cool, was the fact that once you get those obvious things done, like the recruiting back on track, like managing coming out of the first half with more energy and enthusiasm, stuff that you can see in year 3 or 4, I'm expecting Marcus Freeman to be defining the process of being a head coach, where he's hiring different assistants that are in the building, bringing an Ed Orgeron or bringing a Jim Tressel in the building, or getting another version of a James Laurinaitis, because at that point you got the big infrastructure figured out, and
Yeah,
now you fixing pieces. Like, for instance, getting a quarterback coach this year is a part of defining the role of the offense, because now you got an offensive coordinator and a quarterback coach. Now it's two heads focusing on the development issue, which is, one of the glaring issues from last year.
so I said that to get to this point. Greatness has many ways that it wins game. I think if you look at Nick Saban, he's won championships 3 or 4 different ways. Different quarterbacks, different style of teams. Um, I think Kirby is probably going through his first iteration of championships at Georgia. Dabo pretty much did it, in my opinion, the same way with back-to-back great quarterbacks at Clemson. It's going to be interesting to see moving forward this season how many different types of ways Notre Dame can win games. So that's greatness.
That's right.
That's greatness. Like great teams. Like I still remember the best or the greatest collection of talent, according to most people, which was the 2000 to 2001 Miami Hurricanes, right? They almost lost to Boston College, bro, which was like on the road in a Big East matchup that they had no business being, dude, 3 yards away from losing that chance to be in the national championship. I mean,
Mm,
Boston College is right there on the goal line
mm.
with a chance to upset them. And they come up with the turnover, and Ed Reed returns it famously, and they go on to do what they do. It is very important that when we look at this season and we break it down, we understand that there are going to be a couple of games where we're like, why is this game close?
Right. Yep.
Why is this game close? Like, why are we still dealing with this team? And I think some of that, this is my opinion, Left. You tell me how you feel, man. I don't look, everybody can sit here and talk about the transfers that have left the program and talk about, man, you know what? That's cool. I think we're still good. Losing players is not a good thing, bro.
Right.
Not quality players.
Not quality players.
Not quality players. I can see if we were losing guys that never saw the field
Yeah.
ever in the program. It's like,
Yeah.
okay. We talked about it, at the running back position. It's like, okay, that position is a position where you can come in early and get it done. More nuanced position. Wide receivers, not so much, even though we have three young freshmen that we feel like they can contribute. So let's see the fear factor, right? What's the fear factor of this season? What's the fear factor of this schedule? I don't think either of us have a fear factor about game number one over in Ireland.
No.
I think scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, our fear factor would be set at a 1
Yeah.
because that's the lowest we can go.
Maybe a 1.5 because the travel, how they adjust to the time zone. Maybe they start a little slow on the first couple plays, but I think we'll be good. And didn't Marcus Freeman go fishing with Sam Hartman or something like that? Isn't that connection there growing? I saw some pictures of that.
So did Marcus Freeman go fishing or did the offensive coordinator go fishing? I know Gino Gaduli and Jared Parker went fishing with Sam Hartman over the spring.
Yeah, I saw Marcus
Maybe.
Freeman going to fish with Sam Hartman. I'm like, that's what you like to see.
Okay.
That was probably a conversation. They was like, man, you the guy.
So September the 2nd, I think the fear factor, there's probably less than 1 for Tennessee State.
Yeah, less than 1.
A half.
Well, they may be surprising, like, how Georgia State always pops out and make it challenging for teams early in the season, like they did for Tennessee, that couple years ago where they went down to Tennessee and beat them. So maybe it's something about the Georgia boys, but I think Eddie George is trying to put the program in a good direction to where I don't think they're going to come out and be awful.
Mm-hmm.
Be playing like Central State or anything, but we'll see how it goes.
All
but
right.
From our expectation, we shouldn't make it a game.
North Carolina State. Let me tell you something. My fear factor for this game was at about a 2. I'm gonna raise it to a 3. Left. Where are you at?
They lost Devin Leary.
I mean, that might be a blessing, but I mean,
and it's at home.
it's at NC State.
Last time we was there, we didn't win that game. That was the Hurricane game.
I mean, inclement weather had a lot to do with that, but
inclement. I'd say a 4. I'll probably say a 4, just because it's an away game. Sam Hartman's first away game.
He's familiar with playing there.
CCF, yeah, but I'm sure they'll some factor of Notre Dame coming to town is going to add to it. This will be Sam's first test,
right?
Playing with Notre Dame in an away game, where games like the usual Saturday games are just a little bit more intense because teams treat us like the Super Bowl. It's just like So I think it's a 4 only to see what he'll look like with those Notre Dame expectations on the road.
All of that you just said had me at a 2.
They wasn't a bad team last year.
No, they weren't a bad team. They had a bad loss at the end of the season to that horrible Boston College team at
Oh,
home. They kind of made their season look a little bit worse than what it was. But this is what made me reconsider, Left. You
okay,
remember when we went over the top returning defenses in
okay.
college football?
Hmm.
And we saw that Notre Dame was coming in at or came in at number 12 on
Mm,
that list.
yeah,
And we talked about the potential of the Notre Dame defense in the ceiling.
yeah.
North Carolina State came in at number 11.
It's pretty solid. It's a pretty solid. Like North Carolina State's always had pretty good defense. Like just
And their best unit is the secondary.
yeah, I believe it. Nick McLeod came from North Carolina State.
Over to Notre Dame. You're absolutely right.
Had a good season with us. So, you know, I think it's definitely potential in there.
You know,
But at the same time, we got Sam Hartman, the unquestioned. Um, I wouldn't say game manager, but the unquestioned leader that we got for the offense moving forward. That it's an environment that he should be used to. So that should be the great equalizer of a secondary that's supposed to be ranked high, pretty coming back. But Sam went 11 for 16 in the spring game.
mm.
That means that we're gonna be throwing that rock.
Look, they return a veteran defensive line and they return a top notch secondary.
That's what I'm saying. A 4 is reasonable.
That and for them to be the first, if you want to say the first true competition, like the step up, like you go from Navy to which would be competitive, then you play Jackson State, but then you take a step up to North Carolina State on the road. I don't know, bro. I'm at a 3. I had it at a 2. I read that about their defense coming back and some of the transfers they got in. I think they got in the number 3 JUCO transfer. They got in a big time defensive transfer out of Cincinnati. So I'm gonna sit it at a 3. I see a lot of people in the chat talk saying 5, which is
I said 4, but I'm only saying 4 because I don't think their offense is going to put up enough points to overcome our efforts. Because I think
mm,
even with a good defense, we'll should float around a 35-point game. I think North Carolina State can't score 35 on our defense, which is why I don't think it was a threat to where I would put it at an 8. But I think their defense is the challenge that presents, and things happen when you play on away games.
Left, man. Mm, I'm cool with that. I'll put it at 3. I'm gonna leave it at 3 for right about now. Central Michigan at Notre Dame. That's a 1 for me. Even
That's gonna
after
be,
seeing
that's gonna be a 5 for me,
what,
out of respect for my guy Charlie Fry. Let me see if is Charlie Fry.
dude.
Hold on,
Hey, the history of MAC schools coming to Notre Dame Stadium does yield itself to close games.
hold
Um,
on.
it, it,
Hold on. I gotta look it up. Is Charlie Fry still the offensive coordinator? Hold on. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, no. Okay, I got it at a 2, maybe a 1. Yeah, I got it at a 1.
you agree with a 1?
Yeah, 1 was.
Okay.
I thought that offensive coordinator they still had.
I can say a 1. Then Ohio State. Now this is where it gets interesting because for me, Ohio State
You're saying a fear factor though?
fear factor for
You gotta
me was
answer.
look. Hey, you know how I felt about Marvin Harrison Jr. I had them sitting at probably at a 4.5. After hearing about the struggles they really have on that offensive line, especially at both tackles, new quarterback. They do have 3 defensive players ranked atop the Shade's first round way too early mock draft for next year. So they bring back some talent defensively. I don't know. Maybe I take it down to a 3.5. For some reason, the bad offensive line and the new quarterback just, I don't know. It changes things for me. And I know it's only spring, but this is why we're doing post-spring fear factor. Like, have things changed? Where did you have Ohio State like before?
So
Well,
last year,
you didn't believe in the quarterbacks anyway, but go ahead.
this year I have Ohio State at like a 5, only because I really believe we're for a style fight. I think we fit uh, very well in beating Ohio State from our styles and what we have on paper compared to what they have on paper.
Mm-hmm.
So I think so I'm not in fear of playing Ohio State. I want the challenge of playing Ohio State. I feel the same way of how I felt about when Clemson came last year.
Mm-hmm.
They were quote unquote a good team, but I didn't have the fear of playing them. I wanted to play them at home with Cade Klubnik, you know. So
Yeah.
I want them to play us at home with Kyle McCord. So I put it at a 5.
Yeah.
Ben Morrison might mess around, had 2 picks, something crazy, you know. Because you're gonna have to put the game in the quarterback's hands if you want to beat Notre Dame.
Okay. Mm. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's a matchup. It's huge. I think this game is huge for. I think this game is bigger for Marcus Freeman than it is Ryan Day. Really, the only important game for Ryan Day is the last game of the year for Ohio State.
That's it.
That's it.
First
Because if
and the
he
last. First
if
and the
he
last.
if he loses to Jim Harbaugh again, he might be in trouble. He might be in trouble. And that might him being in trouble might not be him losing his job, but it would definitely
You
be.
can't lose to Michigan 3 times in a row. And because you're not John Harbaugh. So we're not like you can lose Ohio State 10 years in a row and be good. Because you're John Harbaugh. But you, my friend, are Ryan Day. And Ohio State has been winning for way too long.
Uh-huh.
And Urban and Jim Tressel and all them boys for way too long. They start accepting these consecutive losses to the team y'all don't even say the name of. Y'all just say the team up north. That's like the whole identity. It's like you have to get fired from an identity standpoint. Like the identity of Ohio State just being better than Michigan is the antithesis. What do you say? Antithesis or
Antithesis.
the, the,
Yeah.
the, the soul of Ohio State. And consecutive losing that game, you just have to get fired just because we can't even, we can rock with a lot of things.
Right.
But that, it's like you can't win enough games to outweigh the weight of what that game means for that program where it is now. Because I think it's a huge recruiting difference. It's like, yeah, I like the Big Ten. I like, Ohio State, Michigan, and those teams, but Ohio State is that dominant factor because they whoop Michigan every year.
Mm-hmm.
But now the scales of recruiting start equaling out when Michigan starts whooping Ohio State in the Big Ten. And then the quarterback factor of USC coming in the Big Ten with Lincoln Riley, that may change recruiting skills. They already buffing up their defense with guys that they definitely wouldn't have gotten if Lincoln Riley wasn't there.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. So I'll go back and forth, right? I look at the offense, the new quarterback, the offensive line, and I'm like, man, I might be able to drop this down to 3. Then I look at the wide receivers and I say, but the wide receivers, the quarterback has to get the ball to him. Quarterback needs time to throw. Then I look at the defense and I say, pretty formidable. Number 3 returning defense in the nation. But then I think about it. I don't think Ohio State's going to come into the game with the same intensity as Notre Dame.
No.
I think they're going to come in and they're going to feel like, man, we beat these dudes last year. Where I think Notre Dame's going to come in and say, we should have beat these dudes last year. We should have beat them.
That's just what's they have to. Ohio State has to overcome that tension in the air for that, because they know.
Yeah.
They know that they thought they was looking ahead, and they was like, whoa. We gotta lock in to escape this whoop that we finna take.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we got a lot of returning players that remember that game as well. Guys that are on the edge of their seats where Ohio State just can't get up enough for that because they lost a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They got a whole new scheme going on. They're going through a transition in some ways. You're going to see them run the ball a hell of a lot more. And I just think that takes time to just grow into. Ohio State is transitioning into exactly what we are coming out of.
Mm-hmm.
They're going into a shell. We coming out of the shell. We're going to look like more Ohio State than they are in the game. It's going to be a total twilight zone. We got the better quarterback. We throwing the ball more, and they trying to run it more. So I think when that transition happens, I think we'll be much more comfortable winning the game.
Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, CFE Nation, in conjunction with Irish Breakdown, all of our great content. Go subscribe on our Lucky Lefty Podcast YouTube channel. That thumbs up, hit that for us. Helps us with our views, man. We give you the audio edible each and every day. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know we spin it different as we continue on talking Fear Factor 2023 Notre Dame schedule. Ooh-wee. One of these next 2 games is a trap game, Left. Mike Elko and his Duke Blue Devils on the road. Riley Leonard as a formidable foe as a quarterback. Their defense has steadily improved under Mike Elko. You come off of that big emotional win against Ohio State. I'll go ahead and put it in the atmosphere. That big emotional win against Ohio State. And then you go on the road to face a team that athletically you're better than, but they're coached so well that if you're not on your A game, you can end up in a dogfight. And it can be for 4 quarters.
Yeah. It's going to be for 4 quarters. I think, but the thing is, we're just more talented than the team. So it's like, they'll probably put up a good fight and then we'll overcome as the time goes on.
Yeah.
But it'll be a respect game where we're like, look, we're not about to overlook you now. We're going to go hard. But at the end of the day, we recruit better. So y'all going to fizzle out. And then because we're not a team that's undisciplined. So you just not going to beat us off of just like one of those Appalachian State versus North Carolina games where we just have terrible defense and just giving up hundreds of where it's a shootout. It ain't gonna be no shootout, but it's a respect where y'all gonna get some stuff off because y'all practice and y'all game playing well and y'all got coach well, and But when you put that number 7 back there,
Mm.
and it's like, all right, tackle this. you, you may know where we going. Yeah, you didn't study well enough, but tackle this fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's where this is how we eliminate and separate ourselves from having competitive games from all these other teams that we should be beating. So when it comes down to just straight, we can keep throwing stuff at you. That's who we are. We may not give you that number 1 pick of the draft, but we'll throw a lot of talent at you. Where you're like, man, these brothers got depth. We just don't have a second and third unit at Vanderbilt or at Pitt or at Duke. We got a good first unit, a couple backups, but y'all got 2 deep, some young threes, go in there, catch a touchdown or something, It's too much by the fourth quarter.
Louisville after that. So where did you place Duke? What was your number? You had them at like a 3?
I got them at a 4 because of respect.
Oh.
I got a 4 because of respect. I respect the fact that they're going to be coached well. They smart guys, Duke hard to get into now.
Yeah, you agree. Jason Smith agrees with you. He says 4, the Elko factor, but I think we do pull it off. I think it's better that we play that one on the road, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Louisville. Changes all over the place for the Cardinals. I see Notre Dame blowing Louisville out. I'm going to be honest.
Who they got over there? The Purdue guy? The guy that made Charlie Jones famous?
Yes, sir.
He'll have some stuff in the tank because I like their quarterback situation. Pierce Clarkson isn't bad. He's a freshman over there. They'll be all right. I'll put them at a 3.5. I'm not going to say that these teams aren't going to be competitive, but I think the factor that we're deeper than most teams and coach well, that's an overcoming factor for a lot of teams that are thinly deep. Only a few teams in college football are 2-3 deep that can go really make an impact in the game.
Yeah, the Louisville game, I think you catching a Brom squad he's trying to really reinvigorate and put his program together.
Yeah.
So even though he's probably got some transfers coming in and the offense will probably be vastly improved, just defensively and all together, all units, I don't think everything will be up to snuff. They'll probably come out fired up with some emotion. But at the end of the day, that's at least a 3 touchdown smack on the road.
See, I like that you're saying 3 touchdowns, not no 3-point win.
No. I feel pretty confident in this one turning into a blowout.
Good.
Yeah. October 14th, baby. I don't know what he's going to have on his fingernails when he comes to Notre Dame Stadium. But he's coming. He's coming. He's coming. And you have said, Left, you have been firm in saying on October 14th, we better put up 40 points.
Yeah, easily.
Like we have to put up 40 points.
UCLA, USC scores.
Yeah. I actually think Notre Dame will be more fired up about USC than they will Ohio State.
Yeah, I got it at
we can debate that.
I got it at a 7.
A 7? The scale only goes up to 5, Left.
Oh, I thought it was at a 10. I'm sorry.
You might have to rethink things.
That'd be grade knees way too high. Oh, hell. We got to knock all my scores to 2.5.
So wait a minute. On a scale of 1 to 5, you have Navy at a 1. No, let's just do 10. All right, we'll do scale of 1 to 10 to keep it so you can stay in the same mindset.
That's right.
So you've been doing a scale of 1 to 10. So you had North Carolina State at a 4, Ohio State at a 5. You had Duke at a 4, Louisville, you had low.
Yeah. 3.5
USC,
at a 7. Because we're gonna have to steal some possessions from we definitely got to steal some possessions from Caleb. I don't think it's gonna be a one where Sam's just playing better. I think it's gonna be hell. We scored off of one of his fumbles, we scored off of a pick, and we win by 10. You know, that kind of thing.
hmm. I'm gonna put Southern Cal at a 9, bro.
Mm.
This is the one that I think Notre Dame has the biggest chance of losing.
Yeah, because of the quarterback.
More than any other game. It's
More
not
than
just the quarterback. It's the fact that Lincoln Riley went out, got the two big monsters at defensive tackle.
Yep.
Now, we don't know what that secondary is going to look like. Alex Grinch has been subpar as a defensive coordinator and a play caller. But they wouldn't got two studs on their defensive line. At some point, you have to give Lincoln Riley some credit for closing up the biggest factors in that defense being horrible. So we'll see. They did lose their best pass rusher to the NFL. We'll see if they reload. Linebacker situation, lots of injuries. They still don't have the depth that they'll have probably in the program in year 3 or 4. But I have this at like an 8.5, 9, bro. This is the game.
It is a game. It's a game of the season. I just got at a 7 because even with those people coming in, they're just not known to be a defensive team. You know.
No, it's been a while since they've been known as a defensive team.
And plus, we have a really good offensive line. So if anything, they trying to match our intensity in the trenches, let alone be better than. Plus, you got to tackle Audrey Esme in that fourth quarter. And I want to see what they do with that because we're going to be killing them with Jadarian Price in there. Woo, 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 woo. Ron Payne in there, running hard. You got Audrey finishing the job, so we should be all right.
Yeah, I would worry about – it's all about the quarterbacks for me, right? Like Riley Leonard makes me nervous. Caleb Williams makes me nervous. The quarterbacks of Ohio State don't really make me nervous.
No.
Cade Klubnik, I have to see him play.
We done caught him with his pants down.
I have to see him play because I'm not nervous at this point.
Still not
at this point. I'm not nervous. So
see, the difference was I was nervous when Trevor first played us and when he played us in the last time. No question. If I got to guess about you, we're not worried.
Pittsburgh after a bye. It's the Phil Jakovic game, bro. If he can stay healthy. Right. If he can make it to the game. Right. Oh, man.
Can't speak about that till it gets close.
Man, look here. I think Notre Dame wins that. They'll be better. They'll be a better team. I mean, they only had one in that 23 recruiting class. They had one recruit that was a 4-star. Everyone else was 3-star and below. And then Notre Dame came and took their 4-star. That's Kenny Minchie.
That's right.
So, yeah, I would have them pretty low, maybe a 3. maybe a 3, 4. November the 4th in Clemson, South Carolina. You get to walk in and kick that rock over.
That's right. I got us at a I got us at a 5. I mean,
That's fair. That's fair.
our game of the year is USC, and
Yeah.
Clemson is a icing on the cake for a good season.
Yeah.
Something that needs to be done, but not over. It's not overlooked, but it's definitely not worried about.
Yeah, I would sit them at a 5. The defense is going to be, man, like I said, look, we disagree. You said you feel like if the Notre Dame defense ends up being better than Clemson's defense, you might have a defense that's the best that Notre Dame has had in like the last decade. Like, I mean,
In what
you,
way? I guess.
I mean, Clemson is normally a top 10 national defense. You
Yeah.
said last week that you feel like Notre Dame is going to be better defensively.
Oh, defensive line, yes. Secondary, yes. But their linebackers are always sneakily pretty solid.
Yeah, they returned some pretty darn good linebackers this year. They
So
returned some pretty good linebackers this year. So, and don't forget, as Jeremy Weller said, Clemson is going to be out for revenge because Notre Dame did kind of embarrass them last year. They treated them like little kids.
but that's because they quarterbacks wasn't ready. So they couldn't do much, and then
Yeah,
eventually you let Drew Pine play from a lead, we're gonna be all right.
I can see that. Wake Forest and Stanford. I put those two together because I feel like they should be gimmies, especially after a bye on November the 11th. That darn Stanford trip always seems tricky, though.
You ain't lying. Any trip in California late in the season is just an automatic tough game.
Like, bro, come on, man. I'll put both of those games. I think Sam Harper's probably gonna throw for like 400 against Wake Forest, just because.
Yeah, he should have a one of them type of games.
Yeah, and then Stanford, like I said, that last game, Notre Dame will probably be up, and just some stupid stuff will happen, and Stanford will get some lucky scores and stay in the game, and it's just the last game. It's
It
just the
happens
way
every
it is.
happens every time.
Every time, man. Every time. Even that the Jack Cone game when they went out there, they beat them handily, but then it was like Notre Dame fumbled, and then
Yeah,
Stanford scored, and then they got a long touchdown. It's like,
we don't know how to put Stanford away for whatever reason,
man,
but we have to not make this a hard thing this year.
yo, Eric Ward has a question for you, love.
Do you think ID would be so good? I don't. What is? I don't see it. Um, our defense has a lot of potential on paper, man. It's just how do we execute at the end of the day? We have the perfect schedule to give ourselves the evaluation of if we're worthy or not for being one of the best defenses in the last decade. It's set up for it to be like that, but we
Mm.
still have to define who are going to be the stars in the front seven. We got a lot of inklings of who we think could be good. We got the shedding of some guys that we thought could be a big factor this year, but who are going to be the stars in the front seven? because if it's right now how it is, we just got a really good defense with a bunch of solid players. But you need stars in every sport. You need stars, and we need to identify who those guys are gonna be. Is it gonna be a Jason Onier? Is it gonna be a Jalen Sneed, a Nolan Ziegler? Maybe a Maris pops out. Psh, Jordan Patellos. We need a clear identifying star in a defense that's really good. Maybe Xavier Watts start the middle of the defense in some ways. So
My fault. I didn't know I was muted. Sorry about that. I didn't look. Lots of potential, and it's been based upon the front. If that defensive front takes a step forward, that changes everything. Because
yep.
we've had pretty good secondary play. We've had safeties that are impact players. Benjamin Morrison, Kyle Hamilton, and the secondaries have pretty much held up. Notre Dame was 18th against the pass last year. Pass rush was okay. Look, man, if that defensive line just take a step forward, put pressure on the quarterback, and the linebacker play steps up, I can see it. I can see it. And I think they're just more athletic in the defensive line this year, honestly. Far more athletic than they've been with the starters they've had. And that's including Isaiah Foskey, who was just drafted in the second round.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So Notre Dame is still looking for help at the safety position, though. That is interesting. They're still looking in the transfer portal for safety help. Hey, I don't know what they see or what they don't see, but maybe it's a depth thing.
Lack of star power.
Yeah, I was happy. Thomas Harper has had issues staying healthy during the off season, during the spring. And then Xavier Watts had a fantastic spring, in my opinion. And then Ramon Henderson, up and down for a lot of people. So, man, we'll see, Left. We'll see. Lucky Lefty podcast. Fear Factor. That's what we've done. Next, we'll come back. We'll talk more recruiting for Notre Dame. We'll talk about the coaches on the hot seat. And then, man, I can't wait to get to the petty train today. It's going to be pretty fun today. Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Go tag in right now and CFB Nation for all your great content. CFB All-American, also Rise and Draft with Ryan Roberts. We give you the audio edible each and every day. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different. All right, Left. Man. I have to get to the Kentucky Derby one day, Left.
It looked pretty cool, huh?
I have to. I have to get to the Kentucky Derby one day.
What color would you wear?
It would be something like it would be bright. I would probably do like a white or cream pant with a sport coat that's like a fuchsia or
You
baby
definitely
blue.
gotta go Obama cream. Gotta go Obama cream.
Yes, with a fuchsia baby blue. Ooh. I definitely would bow tie it. That's just my style. I would bow tie it. I would have to decide on what type of hat I would rock. But I definitely would go that route. Shout out to Marcus Freeman and the rest of the coaches that made it to the Derby this weekend, man. That was inspiring to see them. That was inspiring, bro. And you all said he went fishing as well.
That brother out there living that coach life.
Man, living that coach life. You talk about giving cats the weekend off.
He needed the weekend. He said, "Look, I got stuff I gotta do, y'all. Y'all go ahead and
So
take this little time off."
let's see. What do you think about the outfit, though?
You know he's gonna wear the green.
You have to wear the green
You know he's
to
gonna wear the green.
represent.
But you know how he did that AKA pink in there though too.
Yeah, he is looking a little AKA ish.
Show some love for the sorority. But you know, he in his Easter fit. You know, young Marcus. You know what's so cool is that he got the light green though. It's the mint green. It's that green that's like, okay, it's not the money green necessarily, it's that spring green. You know, that Irish green soap.
Okay,
Looking like the soap bar out there, fresh and clean.
I like it. I like it. There's some other photos out there with the other coaches. They were clean. I think Al Washington and Mike Mickens were back home on soccer duty,
And you know how that go.
so they couldn't make it. But yeah, most of the coaches were pretty clean. I thought Coach G was pretty clean. I saw Coach Gino, Jared Parker. He was pretty clean as well. If I'm not mistaken, I think Coach Freeman took a picture with Clark Lee.
Mm.
I think he took a picture with Clark Lee. He took a picture with Dick Vitale and some other people. But I have to get to the Derby, bro. I have to get to the Derby. I have to get to the Derby. Then Coach Freeman is becoming somewhat of a. I can't even think of another coach that would have. Can you see? Has Brian Kelly? Did Brian Kelly ever go to the Derby?
Oh yeah, you know Brian Kelly did all the bougie stuff.
Really?
Oh yeah, he ain't no social media person.
Oh, so he did it without swag.
Listen, this man been around the game a long time. He type to come in early morning workouts with a nice green face Rolex, just the thing just be looking crazy. Like 8 in the morning.
Got that diamond bezel.
8 in the morning. Oh yeah, you know, I had a meeting today. This is early on with the president, and that man be in Nantucket with Bill Belichick in the off season on the boat.
Oh man. Yo, and actually the horse that won, it was a great race, by the way. The horse that won had only 3 starts, and long time great trainer out of Venezuela. The gentleman, the jockey that rode the horse, Hall of Famer jockey, had yet to win a Kentucky Derby. He finally breaks through. It was a great story, man. Man, that's great stories. It gets me to this point where you know how people debate whether or not horses are athletes.
It can't be an athlete, right?
Have you ever had that debate? Like people actually debate this, whether or not horses are athletes.
It can't be an athlete, right?
I mean,
like, come on, let's be for real. How can a horse be an athlete?
they train.
Do they?
What you mean? Do they?
I don't know if that's true though.
No. Have you ever? No. You need to watch, bro. Have you ever watched a documentary on what it takes to make a racehorse, bro? It's not like you just buy one and then they just wake up and you just let them run and then they show up. Like they have to be horses.
You're training it to do something for sure, but at the same time, you're not. It's an animal. Like you can't train the horse to go do taxes.
What?
Whereas, you're defining an athlete by a category of other categories, right? Because you could be an athlete, you could be an astronaut, you could be a accountant, you could be a doctor. But a horse being an animal, you can't make it anything other than what it only can do, which is run around. So you can only train it to run. Like you train it to run already is not making it an athlete because technically it's a horse. It can't be nothing else.
No, see that's what you're not understanding.
Right?
No. So let's say you go by the son of a previous Kentucky Derby winner, right? You pay millions of dollars, right?
Oh,
Just for
so
the
like the
blood.
offspring of the
Yes,
horse that
yes,
you won the race with.
yes, just for the bloodline.
Okay.
That horse then has to go to breaking school, horse breaking school. Look it up. It is like dude, because a horse has to be broken from its original tendencies as a horse and then trained to be a racehorse. It's not like they just come out and run. It's not like you and I going out in the block racing. They have to be broken
But what
and
okay,
then
now
built
we're
back
talking
up.
about anatomically, like structurally, like they had to break their legs or something?
No, bro, they have to
Or
be
is it
broken from their tendencies, their natural tendencies,
right?
and
Okay, but
horses to
that's
distinct
training.
to
That's
take
not
them. No, 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 no. That's not training. That takes them to the next level of being an athlete or being a horse. Now, if you want them to run just naturally, they can come out and run maybe, I'm just throwing a number out, 15 miles per hour at its
okay.
peak. I just
Okay.
threw that number out.
That's
If
a,
they
that's
go
an
to
average horse. That's an average horse speed.
average horse speed,
Okay.
in order to be a true racehorse, you have to be broken. And first of all, you have to be broken. Elizabeth, thank you. Because it's like four parts of it. Like they have to be broken because it's not, they don't just naturally accept people in a saddle. They don't naturally just accept saddles on their backs, bro. That's not something horses just readily
No,
accept
but
from a racing
that's taking
standpoint.
like that's like saying like a stallion in the wild, like horses in the wild before they were domesticated didn't like braces either. So domesticating the animal, that's obviously training them. Yeah, you can train it like you train
Mm-hmm.
a regular animal, but for it to be like me, my dog, if I had a dog right now, I wouldn't call it an athlete, even though I took it to walk to the park every day because it's a dog. Now, if I took my dog and went to school and it knew how to be a dentist, then I guess you could then categorize it as an athlete if it could be a dentist too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because unless it had other skills, it can't be something out of out of the ordinary as a category
So look, the definition
of an athlete.
from Merriam-Webster is
Okay.
a person who is trained or skilled in exercises, sports, or games requiring physical strength, agility, or stamina. Now, the only thing that's different is that the dictionary says person.
But that matters though.
Because all I'm saying is the horse does everything else in that definition other than calling it a person.
But the person is why it matters. Because if it didn't matter about a person, you can consider anything an athlete. Would your car be an athlete if you trained it and put gears on it and made it a different type of Honda than what the original Honda is? You got to break the engine or something to make it a souped up Honda. Would it that be considered an athlete then? The car can be considered an athlete? No, no, no. Because a car couldn't do nothing else other than be a car. Now, if the car could turn into like a boat, like a transformer or some shit, right, then you could categorize it in
Dude,
categories.
they already have AI robots that can shoot threes at a better clip than any NBA player.
But they can't. but they're not athletes because they can't play the game. Like they can't.
So if I were to get a robotic arm, does that like now take me out of the category of being able to be an athlete?
You still a person though.
But I'm half a partial robot.
That's like the stickies. You know the stickums on the gloves.
It's cheating.
That's not cheating.
Some people think it is, Left.
Do you think you need tack on your gloves though for grip?
It's
That's why
Lilo. Hey, Lilo Galante says, are NASCAR drivers athletes?
NASCAR drivers are trained at a high level that most people couldn't drive at a speed like that. And the coordination and strength it takes to do that is the same coordination and strength, I think. Not the same, but it takes coordination and strength like baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody getting up off the couch would be like, oh, these guys aren't athletes. They're just swinging the bat. But it's super intricate on how to hit the baseball because the ball is coming so fast because of the speed. Just like the speed of racing. The speed of racing is what makes you an athlete or makes it an athletic thing for a driver. If they were just going around the neighborhood or something, I think it wouldn't make you an athlete because you have to train to control that speed.
Look, it's an interesting concept, bro. I've heard many arguments about this. You know, some people try to say Secretariat is the greatest athlete of the last century. Look, I'm with you. I think animals need to be in their own category. That's just my opinion. I wouldn't mix them with accomplishments from humans.
Because it's a real fine line when you start melding categories, you know.
Yeah. But I do have profound respect for what I watch when I'm watching a minute and a half, right? Or 2 minutes, from these animals. I do. I do. And some people, I saw someone in the chat talk about, I think it was Michael Parks, you know, when they take them to breaking school, there are some horror stories at certain schools as far as the way they go about doing things. It's a huge investment just to buy the horse. It's another huge investment to send it to breaking school. And then there's another investment to train it to run. So, if you want to train to be submissive, you can just send my wife because she's got me submissive. My wife can get anything out of me. So you send my missus, she can pretty much get the horses to do anything that they want to do. Because she can get me to do just about anything that she wants me to do.
And that's how it goes.
Hey, I love my baby. I absolutely love my baby. Lucky Lefty podcast. So once again, shout out to Notre Dame's coaching staff for checking out the Kentucky Derby and doing it in fine fashion. Swagged out Marcus Freeman with the AKA colors. Had his beautiful wife. She
That
was
brother
in the
be
pink.
doing it, Tony. He be doing it.
Man, hey, absolutely. Want to talk about the coaches? They're actually back out on the road. They're back out on the road. So, and really, it's not. They're coming to the point where the 24 class is winding down. They're adding more offers to the 24 class, which they did last week, and they'll continue to do so. But they're starting to really focus on the 25 class, and that was this week. Like they're jumping out there 25 class. They went to Mater Dei. They went to Georgia. They went to a lot of different areas where Notre Dame really hasn't had a lot of success. I don't know too many schools that have had a lot of success at Mater Dei outside of USC, probably until recently. But shout out to not only the coaches that are on the road, but shout out to Micah Shrewsbury, who is starting to put together a very impressive roster
Yes, he
via
is.
the transfer portal and through recruitment for Notre Dame next year. They're going to be long, athletic. They're going to be able to shoot. I like what he's doing. I absolutely like what he's doing.
Yeah, and what's good about it is that you're seeing the what Marcus Freeman kind of came in and did, and that was be able to start fast and put together some things where you get some relief factor from your guys, and I think it's putting him in a good space to where the expectations of the program are up to where the women's program is, and you can see both houses packed. When you move forward. But I think it's also cool to see how Notre Dame is doing a great job of replacing legendary coaches that have been there for a long time, because
Uh-huh.
that's a really hard thing to do. Because you look around the college sports world, the rotation of coaches, even though some of them may be really good, is a 1 to 2 3 year thing. Notre Dame is coming off of having coaches on tenures. You would have thought they was teachers
Yeah.
how long they've been at the school, from the football to both basketball coaches, and now the transition and making all of them darker and younger, and giving them an opportunity to start over, and in a lot of cases, first time. I mean, Notre Dame really took a direct opposite step uh, in going from older coaches that have been there for 10 years, the first time ever head coaches, and coaches that are, trying to revamp and revitalize the program. I think it's a good way of buying time to figure out your NIL space. I think it's buying time to figure out these TV and apparel deals coming down the pipeline. But also an opportunity to, you know, take a jump in recruiting without having to take all the steps everybody else is taking. I think that's a smart way of doing it. But Notre Dame was gonna find a good steward ways of not giving up that bread.
Yeah. I can agree with that. I can agree with that. What do you think about these coaches? Fear factor. That's the focus today. Fear factor, right? We're going to talk about the recruiting towards the end of the show. But give me your five coaches, or let me tell you this. I thought this was very good. Mike Farrell, or Mike Farrell Sports, listed his five coaches that needed at least 10 wins to shut up the critics.
Mm.
They need at least 10 wins to shut up the critics, love. Number one, Steve Sarkisian at
Mm.
Texas. Number
Yeah.
two is Mario Cristobal at Miami. Number three is Billy Napier at Florida. Number four is Brent Venables at Oklahoma.
Yep. I
And
agree
number
with that.
number five is Lane Kiffin down at Ole Miss.
Lane Kiffin always in there because they always want more from him. And what is he really gonna give you?
Lane Kiffin might land your boy Diggs to be his running back.
Well, when you come from Notre Dame, everything is your option for you.
Logan Diggs at Ole Miss. Well, I guess.
Yeah, like I guess.
I guess if he just wants to be closer to home, I guess I don't see it. I don't see how it benefits him more. He
Yeah,
ends up with
yeah, that's what it is. I don't see how it benefits him more. That's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, he was going to get over 1,000 yards either way.
Either way,
So I don't see what the issue is.
definitely a
But
lateral move. Maybe you like the food better down there. You know.
I think Billy Napier, I would say yes. Mario Cristobal walked into a situation that was really bad, really bad at the University of Miami. So, mm, Brent Venables just got there last year. I mean, would they really?
Got there, yeah.
Uh, I'll push back on the Cristobal and Brent Venables. Sarkeesian, yes. Billy Napier, without question, because he came in with so much fanfare that he was going to immediately turn things around, and it just hasn't happened. And then Lane Kiffin, I think Lane Kiffin is good down there. You know, Ole Miss is probably a program where they're like, dude, just give us nine wins,
Yeah, low expectations.
low expectations.
Beat Alabama every 2 years. You know.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask you this: Lane Kiffin would probably never leave the SEC unless it was Georgia or Alabama. Ole Miss has to be what, the fifth or sixth best job in the SEC?
Hmm. Yeah, maybe.
And yet still, I don't think he would even leave. I just don't think he. I don't think they would get rid of him, and I don't think he would leave Ole Miss.
Well, I think that he's comfortable wherever they gonna boost his social media. They gonna do whatever they want. He can cause controversy if he needs to, tote the line in recruiting if he has to, because they're gonna buy into what he's selling. And I think as long as you can buy into what you're selling, I don't think anybody wants to leave.
Hmm. Well, hopefully he gets Logan Diggs and can keep him healthy, man. And good luck behind that offensive line. That's all I have to say. Good luck behind that offensive line. From a recruiting standpoint, left 24 class, pretty much it's going to be about the month of June, the official visits, and then those that are left over during the season.
Yeah,
We know Elijah Rushing's still out there, Justin Scott's still out there. Big time safeties that are still out there and they play for Notre Dame in the 24 class as well. I would venture to say that there's no one more important than Justin Scott and Elijah Rushing. That goes without saying. But at the same time, this safety position has to be improved.
yeah,
Safety position has to be improved. And we've kind of set back and one could say that's some pressure on Chris O'Leary to make sure that the safety position is upgraded. Um, I think Don Shula and Ben Minich will be significant impact players at their time in Notre Dame. It's going to take some time to get them up to speed, get them physically ready. Both are injured right now. But as far as the safeties in the 24 class, they definitely, a Marquise Gallegos, man, Chris O'Leary's checking him out. I think he's out there today out of Chaminade in West Hills, California. That would be a huge get. Absolutely huge get if they can get Gallegos in the class in 24. And then they probably need to add another safety to solidify that position.
yeah. I mean, these are all good moves that we taking too.
You think? I see your boy Deuce Knight is picking up mad love from everybody now. Notre Dame got in early. And it seems like everyone is coming to calling right now for the left-handed signal caller out of Mississippi. Left loves him. He loves his potential. Left was on the record saying, "Man, I can't tell you the last time we recruited a prototype, a quarterback at this size and this athleticism at Notre Dame." So,
Yeah, definitely. I'm just excited to see us recruit just strict talent. We're not looking for guys that fit a specific offense. We like, look, we just gonna get the most athletic, biggest thing out there, and he's a lefty. We gonna make whatever that is work because we know we got a chance if we got something like that.
something else, the linebacker position is going to be pretty key. We
Yeah,
already have visits in the month of June. Gallegos and Paul Mankey Sr. Junior. I'm sorry. That'd be odd for him to be a senior in high school, right? Paul Mankey Jr. are the top two, in my opinion, safeties in the 24 rendition of recruiting for Notre Dame.
hell
You
yeah.
got you got Keedron Young coming in June 2nd through the 4th. And then the next weekend, which is a huge weekend in the month of June, Carter Nelson, Elijah Russian, Logan Thomas, Brian Huff, Chris Cole, Bodie Cahoon, and Anthony Carey. Those are the two weekends where if you're praying and you love prayer and you believe in prayer, pray those two weekends when it comes to Notre Dame recruiting because they will have big time commits or big time prospects at linebacker and safety on campus. And of course, with Elijah Rushing and Justice Scott, more than likely is going to be later in June when he gets back to Notre Dame. So you should be pretty excited about that. And
Yeah,
Logan Thomas as well.
staying consistent, especially in the positions that we need to be a reload situation where we just, yeah, we got them. Big 300-pound up front guys, we got them.
Yeah.
And we got them on reload.
Michael Park said his homeboy from South Bend called him last night and told me the world was coming to an end because Notre Dame had two 6'10 brothers on the team.
Tell me, tell me.
Oh man.
Arkansas
They
State
do.
different.
They do have two 6'10 brothers on the team now. They do. They do. And Demetrius, man, we're gonna get Demetrius on to talk about. He's super excited about what Michael Shrewsbury is doing. If you follow him on social media, yeah, he loves a couple of the transfers that are coming in. He's super excited. Super excited. Now, Penn State beat more than one ranked team last year. Heck, they beat the heck out of Illinois twice. So I know they beat us when we were ranked. And the ranked teams they beat that were in the tournament were ranked as well. So they beat more than one ranked team. They beat Iowa when Iowa was ranked. Heck, Northwestern was ranked, and they beat them.
Yeah.
So, Lucky Lefty Podcast. Thank you for tuning in today, man. Fear Factor was the theme of the show. Going through the schedule of 2023, looking at teams and how they look after their springs and whether or not things have changed. We were pretty consistent. I think it was like two games that were pretty high on our Fear Factor list, and then about two games that were kind of mid level. Everything else we feel like Notre Dame should be able to handle and find fashion, no problem.
No
Shout
problem.
out, yeah, your boy saw your boy Bronny committed to USC.
Yeah, man. I think that just, he got comfortable living out here. He said, man, I ain't going back to Ohio, man. Why? He's like, why would I do that? I got
Yeah,
here, and then you know what? They're gonna get drafted by the Clippers or the Lakers or something. You know how that goes. So
Yeah.
good storybook. Maybe him and Juju Watkins can connect. That'd be cool to see. Watch USC's recruiting blow up. They might be in the Final Four in the next couple of years. You know how that goes.
You think Bronny's one and done?
For LeBron's sake, yes. The way LeBron talk about it, he's on 1 foot in, 1 foot out to the NBA already. See that interview where they were talking to him in Savannah,
Uh-huh.
and she's like, "Yeah, we just want him to be happy and do what he likes, and whatever's best for him." And LeBron's like, "I just want to go to the league. I ain't gonna lie, I just want him to go to the league."
That shows you the difference, right? Mom, like, I want the best for him. Dad, man, I just want him to go to the league.
Yeah, he'll be happy when he gets there. That's his whole thing. Oh yeah, he'll be happy. You just know.
Yeah, bro.
I don't blame it, Bron. When there's a will, there's a way. You're the greatest scorer and player of all time. You can make things like that happen.
All right, bro. You know what time it is.
Petticoat, petticoat, petticoat junction.
It's time to get petty
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
and fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty historic? Petty Junction.
Petty Junction, Petty Story of the Day, brought to you by Nora Whiskey and NoraWhiskey.com. That premium American whiskey and NoraWhiskey.com. Somebody needs to put the stylist, the publicist.
Oh my gosh, the Dennis Rodman thing. I mean, oh,
The brat, I don't know what.
did you see how ridiculous that was? I mean, just the blatant, just like it couldn't be real. Like it had to be scripted. Because what was that? Like for real. Like Dennis Rodman's still alive. Like he probably watched that and was like, "Oh my god, bro!"
Bro.
And they played the phone call from jail. Girl, talk about. I don't think I deserve to be in here. What? Yeah, man.
Oh, man. And then,
What would you do? I mean, oh my goodness.
he said, what would I do?
What'd you do?
Man, bro.
Like it's just such a crazy story. You're like, how did this happen? Like this is not real.
Man. Oh, man. Chicago's own the brat goes on the petty train. Brat, I don't know what you were thinking yesterday when the Chicago Bulls warm up with your stomach out.
Mm.
Just
Bad
don't,
advice out there.
just don't do it. Don't do it. Did you see the picture left?
I didn't see the picture.
Left,
Just making bad decisions, huh?
bro. I bro. I understand she wants to show
Chicago in the poor light right there, man. And the design of the thing don't look good either. Who designed that?
That's a Mitchell and Ness Bulls warm up. And she just,
That's a Mitchell and Mess. Ain't no
yes.
Mitchell and Mess. That's a
You
Mitchell.
said it's a Mitchell and Mess.
Mitchell and Mess. Because what is that?
Oh man. Look, man.
That's
Man.
Chicago for you, right?
Man, that's Atlanta right there, bro. She's been out in Atlanta way too long. And look, hey, Nikola Jokic. Look, man,
Everybody
you
leave him
didn't have
alone.
you didn't have to push that dude like that.
Leave that brother alone, man. He's trying to play basketball. Y'all in his way.
I just hope the NBA doesn't do anything stupid and
It
suspend that dude
ruined the playoffs.
and ruin the playoffs.
Maybe
Hey man,
channel.
and once again, I'm putting my co-host Malik Zaire on the petty train. Forever uttering the words that Zach LaVine was better than Devin Booker.
I said that.
I can't. Every game of Devin Booker I
No,
watched.
it wasn't Devin Booker. It was Trae Young.
No, it was.
It was Trae Young.
No.
It was Trae Young.
It was Trae Young. That was one thing.
I wouldn't put LaVine over Devin Booker. I think Devin Booker's great. And he got KD now. Hey, what Yogi said on the sideline? It's only two of them.
That was funny. His Cavs, there's only two of them, and they are killing. They are killing. It's only two of them, and you can't stop either one.
And you can't stop. And it's nothing you can do. He had 53 now, so I feel him for he's like, come on, man, I'm putting on this 50-point performance.
But this is the point. Dude, he has 53, but they keep putting him in pick and roll. Like, you got 53.
The liability.
But you're the liability on the defensive end. So, wait a minute. You sit down telling everyone it's only two of them, and they keep putting you in pick and roll.
You in the pick and it's so crazy because his teammates are like, but it's never mind, bro. You want us to help? You want us to what you want us to do, bro? He was saying the two of them are picking on him. He's like, they picking on me. It's only two of them.
That is hilarious. They picking on me, son.
They picking on me.
Hey, man, great show. Great. Appreciate you guys. More recruiting intel tomorrow. Coaches will be on the road. And then we had our guests pushed back. I actually had to go to the doctor this morning. So we pushed our guests back to tomorrow. So have a great day. But most of all, make sure that you spend it different.